I'm in one of the premier beachfront destinations here in all of Bali. And it's a place that's got a bit of a reputation around it. And today I want to maybe dispel some of those stereotypes, maybe reinforce a few as well, and give you a good look around this place. This is Nusa Dua. Isn't that just an almost perfect beach? Today I'm going to walk along the beachfront path in Nusa Dua from end to end, show you what's there, show you what's not there, which is pretty important if you're planning a trip here, and show you what sort of things you might get up to if you're in this area. Now, I will do videos in the future of the inland areas. This is not the whole of Nusa Dua. There's also an area which is, well, outside of the tourist zone, which is more in the town of Nusa Dua, which if you're staying in the resorts here, you might be able to access as well. But for today only, I will be going along the beachfront path and showing you what's what. So I'm starting at the southern end of the path, which is the Novotel. And as I continue further along, I'll point out little bits and pieces like the hotels and the little eateries and so forth. But one of the things you are going to notice is that it feels a bit different to the rest of Bali. It feels a little bit more, well, some people will say sterile, and I'd have to agree with that in some way, but it feels good in other ways as well. Now, the reason that is that this is sort of like a top-down government created project. In the 1970s, they came up with an idea to create this sort of high-end tourism zone, and that's what we've got today. The first hotels started opening in the 80s, and these days you've got all the top chains here providing unreal resorts. I first stayed here in 2002, and at that time they were calling it the Golden Ghetto, and there was a good reason for that, because the people who would go to Kuta would turn their noses up at a place like this. And that's sort of like the class differences, if you like. On that particular trip, I did go to Kuta as well. And I was actually staying in Nusa Dua when the Bali bombings happened. And I remember this vivid image of a guy walking into the hotel lobby in the morning after the bombing in clothes that were tattered and ripped and burnt. And he'd obviously been caught up in the disaster. As we get further along, we get down to the Ayodhya, which is this little resort along here. A massive sprawling resort. I mean, they all are. Huge swimming pool, beachfront location. Seems to be very popular. In fact, just at first glance, this place looks to be a lot busier than a lot of other places in Bali at the moment. So we're coming up to one of the more independent little restaurants around here. This one is called Yasa Sagara Bungiat. And that's the name of the beach here, Bungiat. But I've also seen it spelt Mungiat as well, so I'm not sure what the difference is. But there aren't so many independent restaurants here. That's one of the big negatives of this place, is that along the beach, you're usually stuck with the big hotels. Not always, but you usually are. One of the good things is there are heaps of these little warungs, and they've got the ladies there cutting up all the little bits of fruit so you can have a little bit of a juice down there. They've got beers, and then you've got some sunbeds which are not attached to hotels. So if you're not even staying here, you can come here and enjoy the beach and get one of these sunbeds. That's a really good way to sort of spend the day as well. I think you're looking at probably 100,000 for a day there, I would think, for a bed. And then you get your food and drinks from the little stall attached to it. Good day out. And because the beach is so good here, I think it's actually worth coming down to a beach like Bungiat, which is part of Nusa Dua, even if you're not staying here. So I would sort of say, like, if you're staying in the Uluwatu/Bukit area, or even in Sanur, this is a really easy place to visit and go to the beach. I think it's one of the better beaches in all of Bali. Totally underrated because it's in Nusa Dua. People have this image of Nusa Dua being built to extract money from you, which is correct, but you can get around that a little bit if you know the places that you're going. Like, this is one of them where you can go, and there's a couple of little warungs around. But the other thing is, you might not care if you're going to a resort for a relaxing holiday. I mean, you sort of don't really mind paying an extra, few bucks on this and that if you're just having that sort of relaxing thing, you know what I mean? Like, so I think some of the negative stereotypes are a little bit misplaced. I mean, there is some truth to them, but I mean, everyone's different as well, So if you don't have a lot of money, or if you're a little bit stingy like me, like, you're probably not going to like this place as much because it is a bit more expensive. But you can't deny the beauty of it either. And if I did have unlimited money, or I had a lot of money, like, I would come here for sure. Like, stay in one of these beautiful hotels, eating at the best restaurants every night, love it. This hotel, which is really far back from the beach, is called Merusaka. And if you see the word Merusaka, when I first saw it, I thought it meant Murusak, which means it's destroyed, because it's Murusak with an A on the end, but it's actually Meru, which is those like temple things with the tears on it. And saka means something else, it's like one of those old Javanese words, which I'm not really too au fait with. If you're wondering why I'm sounding a little bit croaky, it's because I'm still sick. I've been sick for now about a week. I am getting better, thankfully, but geez, it's been a sort of a longer sickness than I really normally would have when I'm living in Bali or in somewhere else in Indonesia. I don't usually get that sick. This is the Grand Hyatt that you see there. A lot of these buildings are the older, more traditional style resort hotels that you remember from the 80s in Bali, and that's because they still are the original buildings. A lot of them have been renovated obviously in the meantime, but they still have the bones of the old resorts. Just as a bit of an idea of how big these beaches are, look at that. Look how big these beaches are. They're really long, long beaches. Now, over there in the distance, that place over there is one of the things that's called Nusa Dua. So Nusa it's an old sort of Javanese word, meaning island. Balinese and Javanese wouldn't generally use that word to mean island anymore. I mean, it does mean that, but it's not really something that you'll hear that often except in place names. So that over there is one of the two islands. So Nusa Dua means two islands. Nusa, island, Dua, two. And Nusa Dua is a surfing area. Quite interestingly, a lot of surfers really love this place, and you can get surf lessons here and you can bring your board down. There's reasonably priced parking down here. If you're not staying in the local area, you can come from outside and bring your board down on the side of your motorbike or on your car or whatever and go for a surf here. And it's quite good. Like at the moment out there, I can see a lot of surfers. It's hard for me to show because it's so far out, but it'd be like 50 easily. I'm actually still walking through the Grand Hyatt. It is so massive. It's like one of the biggest resorts you've ever seen. It's huge. That's sort of the scale here as well. Like most of the resorts were built on such massive plots of land and they had so many rooms built. It's just enormous compared to anywhere else in Bali. The scale is just so huge, and I guess that's nice in a way that you get a lot of room, which you might not get in other places in Bali. Now the pool here at the Grand Hyatt is a wonderful one. I don't want to poke my camera in there because there's kids swimming in the pool and it's going to look like I'm a creep if I go and poke my camera in a pool full of kids. But basically it's a long winding pool with an island in the middle, and it's quite busy at the moment. Seems that a lot of families are staying here and bringing their kids down and that sort of thing. I think the other thing is that depending on the day, I think some of these places will allow day passes, and I think that could be quite popular as well. So as I get to the first Nusa, here you go, you get the board rental and surf lesson shops happening around here. It's actually a pretty good place to come and learn to surf, to be honest. The waves don't seem to be that intense. I mean, I'm not a surfer, but it doesn't seem to be like down in Uluwatu where you've got professional style waves happening and you might get cut up on a reef. I'm not sure here. I reckon they might be able to sort you out here on a pretty easy break and get you learning. You can actually go up to the islands over there and have a look at what's on there. There's a statue up there and you can walk around on the rocks and through the gardens and that sort of stuff. It's just something extra to do if you're here in Nusa Dua. And this is the bay that is between the two islands. I mean, we call them islands because we say Nusa Dua, and I'm guessing that they probably were islands at one point. I mean, they look like they might have been at one point. They're like headlands really, aren't they? Or promontories. And you can see all the rocks and stuff there. That's not that pleasant. I mean, nice to go for a bit of a wade, but it's not really a swimming. Oh, you could swim there, like a lagoon, I guess. Not very popular though, hardly anyone here. So along here, there are a few restaurants. So there's one here called Bebek Bengil, which is that one that used to be up in Ubud as well, originally from Ubud. Very popular with Indonesians, not so popular with foreigners. So at the moment, there's no one there. There's a couple of Indonesians eating there, but other than that, not really much. Little bar over there. We can go get a bite to eat and a drink, but again, not that popular. Doesn't really feel like the place that you want to go at the moment. Well, it's the wrong style, I think. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Then all in here seems to be some sort of project mangkrak, one of those stalled projects, buildings sort of demolished, half demolished and a little bit, dodgy. Doesn't look very nice in there at all. There is what seems to be a Japanese restaurant called Siki just here. I'm not familiar with it. It's very Japanese style. It's very large as well for a restaurant. I'm not sure how popular that is because it looks closed at the moment, which I thought if it's going to be a popular place, even at lunchtime, you'd think you'd get a few people in there, but at the moment, closed. Down here at night, obviously, it's going to be a little bit different. This is called La Vie en Bleu by K Club, some sort of restaurant / beach club type setup. Doesn't look to be attached to a hotel, which is positive. The reason I mention that is that I think what you find is that when there are places, and they're really nice places attached to hotels, the prices are always a little bit inflated. And if you're looking to get a bit of diversity away from just the same old hotel stuff, you want these independent businesses. But the big question is, are they any good or not? And are the prices any cheaper than the hotels? Because if they're not, well, there's no point. You just go to all the hotel restaurants, don't you? The next Nusa is up there. Again, you can walk in there into the little forest. I think when I was here, there was no trees on that thing. I just remember it being a little bit bare. But at the moment, it's forested. And we're also into an area where there are heaps of surfboards and surfboard rentals, lessons. There's parking just up there as well. This is actually a really good, maybe sort of central location in Nusa Dua. I've been walking now for 1.9 kilometres from that southern end, so I've probably got another couple of k's to go. I would say halfway. Let's have a look at the beach in this little bay area. Yeah, it's all right. It's a bit like a lagoon as well. Yeah, so there's the other Nusa, and then you have a nice little bay. The thing is, this is the Malia, it looks like. I think I might have stayed at this place. I can't remember, it was something like that. I remember when I stayed here, for the period of time that I stayed here, every time during the day that I went out to the beach, it was low tide. And it's a bit like in Sanur, when you get a low tide, it looks a little bit swampy, to be honest. And then the higher tides, it looks just glorious. So while I'm walking past the old Melia, they call it Paradisus now, which is part of the Melia group. I might have a look, see if I can get a coffee down here. I heard that the coffees here are expensive, but I need to show you what it's like anyway, don't I? So I'm gonna go and get a coffee and have a sit down, because it is pretty hot as well. Ini namanya apa yang cafe ini?
Kopi petani.
Kopi petani, farmer coffee. That's a cool name. The nice Slayer machine. Look at this Slayer, nice custom wood. Aku mau pesan hot cappuccino, bayar pakai kartu, boleh?
Boleh.
Yeah, okay. Hot cappuccino aja.
Cappuccino.
Yeah, okay. Okay, got my coffee. And I am just sweating like you wouldn't believe it. I think it's because I'm still a little bit sick as well. It is a warm day, like it's been warm the past couple of days. The lady here was just telling me that this Paradisus has actually been opened only for 1 month since the renovation. So it used to be called Melia, and now they've called it Paradisus by Melia after they've renovated. So all of this is new. And it feels good. It feels good. I know this is an expensive coffee, but you know, it's just a matter of whether you care or not, actually, isn't it? Like, so I sometimes care, I sometimes don't. At the moment, I don't. I just want to have a rest and a bit of a coffee, so I don't care. I just ate the biscuit because I was hungry, so I just ate it and I thought, oh, I should have filmed that, but anyway, it was good. It was a nice little biscuit. Here goes coffee. Yeah, I like it. I'm not going to say it's a good one because I'm getting criticised for that now. People are pointing it out. I do like it though. I mean, I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to coffees, although if I get a bad one, I will say, this is a good one. I think one of the reasons I say this is a good one all the time is because when I have a coffee, it's almost like my medicine. And when you have your medicine, you're like, oh, thank God for that. Okay, terima kasih Haselina. Yeah. Oh, that was good, really nice. Haselina's a really nice lady as well. Newly married, and she actually lives in Gianyar and comes here every day for work because it's such a good place to work. Really positive vibes amongst the crew here, she reckons. That's why she works here, because the other staff that she works with are really good. And I think as you get older, you realise that one of the most important things in life is the people that you surround yourself with rather than just money. And she's certainly found that out here. And I've sort of found that out here in Bali as well. If you get into the wrong crowds here, there are some not nice people around. So it's really good if you live here to surround yourself with those really positive, uplifting people, which is what I try and be. But I'm not always like that, but I try to be. I didn't check the price of that before I bought it, and I was expecting it could be 100,000 for that coffee. In the end, it cost 70,000, and so it sort of feels pretty cheap to me. And I don't think it's that bad. Like, for a resort where you're getting a very good quality coffee with beans that are mixed between barley and Lombok beans, and you've got someone who knows what they're doing when they're making the coffee, and they're very nice, and you've got a nice lounge chair and a cool breeze blowing in a beautiful garden. 70,000 I think's reasonable. I mean, it's still expensive, don't get me wrong, and it's not something I'm going to do all the time, but I'm totally okay with it at a resort. As we continue on, you can see that a lot of these sun lounges are shaded by trees, which is really nice. And then you've got that beautiful beach there that there are quite a lot of people swimming in as well. I actually think that the beach here for sure is like, it's better than Kuta Beach by every measure, especially now that Kuta is sort of a bit busted up by the erosion that's been going on. There's a bit of rubbish there. This just looks beautiful. I think it's better than Sanur Beach as well. It just seems to be, I don't know, people seem to swim here a lot more than they do in Sanur, which is a little bit interesting. It seems sort of a little bit more geared towards that beach vibe, and it's very good. This is the Laguna Resort and Spa, and it looks pretty cool as well. Seeing a little sculpture here of what looks to be a cross between an elephant and a buffalo, but I think it's supposed to be just an elephant. Yeah, it's an elephant, but it looks like it's got a buffalo back end. Because I haven't been down here much over the years, I haven't really known how busy it gets down here. And I'm surprised. It feels like a very vibrant and lively place today. I don't know if it's because of the day that I'm here. Like, this is Sunday today, and this video comes out 2 days later normally. I don't know if it's that, which I don't think it is. It just seems to be very vibrant and lively. And that's surprising because a lot of other places in Bali at the moment feeling a little bit dead. And the other thing is, Nusa Dua had a pretty bad image for a long time as being a little bit, just a rip-off zone and a bit boring for a long time. But the natural beauty of this place is sort of shining through now. People are coming here for what really matters, and that's this beach and these beautiful, beautiful, hang on, I've got to be careful here. This dude's getting, whoa, chopping a tree. And these beautiful resorts, that's what people are coming for. And I think it's beautiful. Look at that outdoor gym. That is the Western Beach Workout Gym. Wow. That is amazing. Like a jungle gym or a beachfront gym here at the Western. I've actually been to the Western for Christmas lunch once, and this is how I feel about it really, is that the lunch itself felt a bit old school. But you know what? It was one of the best Christmas lunches I've ever had. That old school thing was not a negative at all. It meant things were done the right way that have always been done. The staff have been there forever and they know how to operate that restaurant like you wouldn't believe. Their friendliness and their attention to detail was second to none, and the food was just glorious. And the dessert station, I mean, wow. So that sort of gives me an insight into what the Western's like throughout the resort. It must be very good throughout the resort, I would think, if I had such a good experience down there at Christmas lunch. And from memory, it wasn't that expensive. I actually got the drinks add-on package, which gave you unlimited drinks for, I don't know how much it was. It was like under $50. It was a very, very reasonable price. And of course, Susan was saying slow down a bit, and I had to tell her that I'm not going to get a drinks package and not get my money's worth. So I got pretty messy, and by the time we got to photos with Santa, I was half cut. But it was a great day out. That's probably why I loved it so much. So this is a Nusa Dua Beach Hotel along here, and apparently this was one of the first hotels in the area to open up, one of the early ones, and that's what it looks like. The beach over there. You've still got this beautiful beachfront path. It's actually a credit to these people down here that have made this facility for people to go up and down the beachfront path, because it's actually what makes the place in a lot of ways. When I stayed here, over 20 years ago, or nearly 25 years ago now, one of the problems is that you felt trapped here. You felt like you couldn't go anywhere else. It felt a little bit sort of suffocating. And to even get a taxi was impossible. They'd make you use their own local system, and it was expensive. And you felt like at every turn they were trying to rip you off. And I think you can avoid that now here in Nusa Dua, because they do allow grab cars in and Gojek cars inside the perimeter. And that means you can get out a bit more cheaply than you used to be able to, and go to places that are different prices. Of course you want to enjoy some of the restaurants here, but not every night. And with this beachfront path, you can get a bicycle, which is what a lot of people are doing, and cycle the full length of it and explore all the different eateries that might be up and down here as well. I've come running down here a few times. When I was sort of first moving to Sanur, I sort of experimented in different places where I might want to run, just in case I got bored of that beachfront path. This is one of the places that was my alternative running spot early on, just in case, things just didn't work out in Sanur and that sort of thing. And I really love it down here. To run down here and to jog, it's brilliant. I mean, it's a flat path. It goes for about 5 kilometres and you can go up and back if you want to do more than 5Ks. And it's well shaded in most parts. You come along here, just look at it. I'm now here at 11 o'clock, just 11 a.m. and it's still quite shaded even though the sun is almost directly overhead. Of course, in the morning, when the sun is low on the horizon, well, you probably have even longer shadows, but maybe the sun might dip underneath some of those trees and you might get a bit of sun, but it's nowhere near as strong. So it is a great place to run in the mornings for sure. As I'm feeling this place and viewing it through new eyes, I'm feeling that it might be a nice place to come just on a day trip as well. If you're the type of person that likes to get onto a sun lounge and just relax for a day, I think it could be quite nice to come down to either one of those warung style sun lounges, rent it for the day and get warung food and beers for the day while you just sort of hang out. Or if you like a little bit more luxury, perhaps try and tag along to one of the hotels that allows you to have a sort of a day pass. Now, I don't know how much they cost and I don't know which hotels are doing it, but if you can find that out, I think that could be really quite special, really. I mean, say, for example, you're staying in Sanur, it's only sort of a 20, 30-minute ride in a cab here, straight across that, the bay there. You don't have to go through the traffic, you're on the toll road for a lot of it. Or if you're up in the Bukit or over in Kuta, Ligi and Seminyak, not far away either, I think this could be a really just brilliant option. Yeah, I think that's a good idea for those people who like that stuff. I mean, if you don't like laying on a sun lounge, well, it's probably going to be not that good. Okay, a little beach club here called Manarai. Not really sure what the story is with that. It's not very popular. Nowhere near as popular as other places around here. So I'm not sure what the story is, but I think, again, if you're coming here from somewhere else, that would be a brilliant place to sort of stop in for your day. You know, that's what a beach club sort of is, isn't it? It's sort of, okay, you've got all the lounges, it's a bit higher class, you're going to pay a bit more, and you might have a cover charge of, let's say, I don't know, but let's say $50, and you get your lunch and drinks included. That's okay. The beach in this section is a little bit ugly. I don't know why it's ugly. I've got a funny feeling that there's no resort picking up all the, it's not rubbish, but like dried seaweed and stuff. You see that black line, it's all dried seaweed and coral. That really needs to be cleaned away to make it look nice. Nice and ruppy. Yeah, that's a good Indonesian word. And then out there, we've got some rock walls that sort of are a little bit busted up, and they're the things that are probably keeping the erosion at bay. But because there aren't any sort of facilities built down on this part of the sand, it does look a little bit unkempt. A little warung here. So you can always get warung food. In some places, like it's not widespread. That's, as I said earlier on in the video, that's one of the negatives of this place, is that you might need to go a long way to get warung food. Whereas in somewhere like Sanur, you're a little bit closer to that sort of thing. If you just want to nick out and get a nasi goreng, it's a bit easier. So I guess you need to keep that in mind. Now, if that's not important to you, well, that's okay. And like if you're coming here on a honeymoon or a 30th wedding anniversary or something like that, I mean, you'd be fine to be sort of camped here for 5 days and just eat in the resort. Like, you'd have a brilliant time. It's just going to cost you a little bit of money, that's all. And usually when you're on those big occasions, you don't care as much. This is the Club Med Bali now. And they've got huge sprawling grounds. Looks good with those coconut trees as well, which we don't really have enough of in Sanur. The thing is here, on the other side of the resort, on the side opposite the beach, if you go into where the main road is and that sort of stuff, there's a little old mall there where you can get a bit of food and drink, a couple of cafes in there. I will be exploring that in a video in the coming weeks as well. And then further afield, not that much further afield, maybe a tiny taxi ride away, there is a town here as well that has obviously a lot more local style places to eat, but also modern places as well. And that could be a legitimate alternative if you sort of don't want resort food anymore, if you're staying here. So it's not all bad news, and that sort of negative reputation that we have is probably a stereotype that probably exists from maybe 25 years ago when I was here, which was that they were trying to sting you for every last cent here. And I don't believe that's the case anymore. I think it's a lot more open now because you've got that mobility that maybe you didn't have in previous times. It means you can go and get cheaper food or alternative food outside of the resort area. One thing I will say though, that is compared to somewhere like Sanur, there are a lot fewer resorts along the beachfront. They take up a lot more room, and that means if you want to go a couple of resorts up to look for something to eat, you have to walk a lot further than you would in Sanur, like heaps further. Now, if you don't like walking, that could be a problem. I mean, the alternative is to get on a bicycle, but if you still don't like bicycles or not really capable of getting on bicycles, that's something you need to sort of consider, because the distances are a little bit further. Now, I've already gone now 3.6 kilometres from where I started, and I'm coming to the end of the main hotel district here in Nusa Dua. I will walk a little bit further because I think it's important to show what's just north of the Club Med there. You get onto this little road area and you cut through this car park, and it gets back onto another beachfront path, which maybe you wouldn't notice unless you were exploring like I have done in the past. So you come across here. Good weather though, isn't it? Like, I don't even know if there's a cloud in the sky today. Like, some of the best weather you can imagine, boiling hot, but the dry season seems to be in full swing now, even though, you know, we're not even supposed to be in the dry season yet. That was sort of like a hard edge to the wet season this time. When I first moved to Indonesia, the wet season used to come and go with a bang. You'd get like one rainfall, it'd pour down one day, and then for the next 5 months it would rain, and then one day it would stop. But the past 10 years for me, it's been a little bit less predictable. This year though, we had that big flood a month ago. The rain stopped and it's hardly come back since. There's been a few days of rain, but only like a torrential downpour for like 10 minutes and then it's gone. Okay, so you come through the other side and you're into a bunch of warungs. This one's called Small Warung, and it is indeed a small warung. It's so small that it's closed at the moment. And there are a couple of other warungs here as well. And then you've got a bunch of sun lounges over there, which I guess are probably attached to the warungs in some way. And you could probably just go and order your food while you're lying out there. That's really nice to do, and a much cheaper way of enjoying Nusa Dua for sure. We're not really in Nusa Dua anymore. I mean, Nusa Dua is sort of the resort area there, and because we're out of it, we're sort of into the area of Benoa. Yeah, you can even call it Tanjung Benoa. Tanjung is like a point or a peninsula. And so Tanjung Benoa, Benoa Peninsula, you could say that as well. This is the Sol Benoa, all-inclusive they call it. I think they're saying all-inclusive as a positive point. When I hear all-inclusive, it just turns me off. Bali Tropic Spa and Resort, much less popular up this end, that's for sure. It feels like a little bit sort of older up here, not as sort of happening, I guess. And that's probably because the names of the resorts up here are not as big name as down south. Like the big names down south, like Grand Hyatt or the Western. I mean, they probably draw all the people in, don't they? And I guess you probably pay accordingly as well. Up here, probably, I'm guessing, a little bit more budget, a little bit more relaxed. Well, relaxed is not the word. It's really more, I don't know, cheap. It's not just cheap, but it's just, not as fancy, really, isn't it? Like, if you're not a fancy person, you probably prefer it up here. Now, this is the area of the Conrad Bali. This is well and truly into the Benoa area now. Some people might call it Nusa Dua, but it's not, it's Benoa. A lot of people like to sort of hang on to the particular name because they think that, oh yeah, if you say you're in Nusa Dua, maybe you get more customers or something, I don't know. But this is definitely in Benoa, and it's still a nice beach. It looks like they've got a busted up seawall down here, which is pretty unsightly. And to get across that to the beach from your hotel's not ideal, to be honest. Maybe they've had erosion issues here as well. I can see a magic, or one of those flying carpet things being pulled by a boat over there with people on the back. Looks pretty dangerous, pretty scary. And some jet skis. Actually, Tanjung Benoa, or Tanjung Benoa, is famous for their water sports. And there are different price lists depending on whether you're a foreigner or a local. To get the best price, you have to negotiate hard. I'm now 4.75 kilometres into this walk. Jesus, blazing hot, and being sick still is really taking its toll. We're coming up to this little chapel up here. It's been here for quite a long time. It's a chapel which has these... Morning, how are you? Good. Yeah. And then so you've got this chapel up here which has these beautiful views out to the ocean. I wonder if they've got AC in there, because that could be like a greenhouse, couldn't it? It's beautiful though. because we are so far north now and into Tanjung, Benoa already, it's probably time for me to call a close on this episode. I'm going to turn up this little side street and see where it goes. But as it is, we're already in Tanjung, Benoa, and that's all of Nusa Dua by the beach, as far as you can go along that beachfront path. Now you've got a fair idea of what it's like, especially on a sunny day when there's hardly a cloud in the sky and the beach is looking beautiful, the tides are high, and there's all those crowds there having cocktails and lying on the sun lounges under a coconut tree by the beach. It's just wonderful, wonderful resort atmosphere, and it's really working here in Bali at the moment, which is a little bit of a surprise to me. I'm glad I've been able to explore it today, and I'm going to explore more of Nusa Dua as the weeks go by. Have a walk along some of the back streets, have a walk along the main roads as well to see what's there, see what sort of restaurants and cafes, and maybe even hotels that might be there that might be interesting and useful for your trip to Bali. Thanks for coming along for the ride today, and thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur, the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time, and sampai jumpa.